Hello, hello, hello. I am very, very excited for today's call. We are going to work on some identity healing, the most powerful shift and transformation that I have seen in patients. And what we're going to do today, I am 100% sure will create major shifts for you. And so I'm very excited about that. Uh, I invite you and encourage you to find a quiet space because we're going to go deep within your psyche and your subconscious mind. So just being somewhere where you could pay attention, where there isn't too much distraction happening around you, is going to be very helpful for you, very impactful. And we are going to get started. Now, at the very end of our activation call today, if you do have any questions, feel free to raise your hand, type them in the comments as well. And then we'll see if we have any time to answer them. But I really want to focus on um, doing this powerful activation for you. So I'm going to share my screen. All right. Let's see here. Okay, so just testing, making sure everybody can see what I see. And it does look like you can. We're just going to make this bigger so you can have a good, you can read everything for those of us who are losing um, some focus from our sight. All right, let's get started. If you, for whatever reason, cannot see the screen, just go ahead and type it in the comments and we'll see if it's on our end or yours. But it looks like from what I'm seeing now, I'm getting a bunch of thumbs up, so that's great. All right, so today we are going to go through an activation that is at the core of a lot of the subconscious work that we do within my Awaken Medicine program, and that is releasing the identities that you have built to survive. So, this is going to be a guided journey, and I have not yet met someone who has not had a powerful shift through this, and I'm going to explain why. This here is what I call the matrix of transformation. I created this diagram after a few years and hundreds of women with whom I was working with through using different modalities, different processes, because I realized that there was a strong connection between my patients' emotions, their state of mind, and their uh, consciousness, I would say, and I could feel it. An empath, I would say, very intuitive, and I could feel when there were shifts in my patients' emotions, and I saw a direct correlation with how their body manifested the various conditions that we were dealing with, whether they had flares, whether all of the protocols that we were working on their bodies were helping or not. And I thought, well, if I could include this aspect of who they are, their mind, their emotions, then I should be able to have better outcomes. But I found that when I worked downstream, and downstream means closer to the behaviors, the thoughts, and the emotions, that I would get some results, but they were very inconsistent. And now the smallest circle here is small because this is the aspect that I found would yield either inconsistent results or results that didn't last. And unfortunately, this is where the majority of self-help and programs live. They tell you do this meditation, take this supplement, do this diet, follow this lifestyle. It's all focused on action. And yes, the action is going to give you some results. But you'll find that, and I'm sure many of you can attest to this and have been in this situation, it just doesn't stick. It doesn't stick around. Or you get some results, but they're not exactly as strong as you would like. They're not the results that you were hoping for. And so then the next level that is a little bit stronger is to work on your thoughts. And this is where cognitive behavioral therapy focuses on. And again, very powerful because what you think is going to, of course, drive your behavior. So the thoughts you have on a daily basis will drive what you decide to do that day. And the thoughts you have will also affect your emotions, which is the next circle that's right next to it. And so your thoughts and emotions have a very, very close relationship. And working there can help you feel better. But again, the results I found were inconsistent. And the reason was your emotions and these thoughts are actually generated by your beliefs, which together form your identity. And so your beliefs are a set of statements that you have created to survive, to adapt throughout your life, and they generate the thoughts and emotions that you have on a daily basis. And when you think of the identity simply is the overall structure, the state of being that you carry every day, whether you are thinking a thought or not. But this is what you bring into a room is a set of identities. And these identities you can think of are made of a collection of beliefs. And so when I worked on an individual's identity is when I found that everything else followed. When you shift your identity, your beliefs, your emotions, your thoughts, and therefore your daily behavior and actions automatically follow. It feels less exhausting, it's less tedious, and I got consistent results, no exceptions. And so, what we are going to do today is exactly that. We're going to do some deep identity work. Now, when I have patients who hear this for the first time, often there's a little bit of confusion because the idea that you can change your identity is foreign to them, right? We are basically taught that your identity is set in stone, that who you are is who you are, right? You have these personality tests, you get put in a box, and that's your box. That's a box for your entire life. But that's actually not true. The truth is that your identity, which is essentially your collection of beliefs, was acquired through a series of experiences in your life from the people around you, from your caregivers, from what you were exposed to, from your experiences. And that formed the beliefs that you carry that make up your identity. And they are all beliefs that have helped you survive up until now. And so, if you can make the identity, you can also reinvent it. You can heal it and shift it. And of course, we're not going to make you into someone you don't recognize. What we're doing with identity healing, and I use the word identity healing as my own sort of signature term in awakened medicine. So, whenever you hear me say that, this is what I'm talking about. What we are doing is we're identifying your maladaptive identities, and we're going to heal that. Now, within awakened medicine, I have what I call seven gates. Seven gates are is the map, the seven different ways that I have found to be able to identify someone's maladaptive identity and beliefs. And this is a very comprehensive map. I developed it over the years, and I was able to uncover every single maladaptive identity that that individual accumulated thus far. We are not, of course, going to go through those seven gates, but what we're going to do today is we're going to use one concept, which is called life traps or schemas. They're actually not among my seven gates. This is a known concept in psychology, but it's a really good way to help us quickly identify a identity that you may be carrying that could be harmful to you. So today we're going to use these schemas And basically, a schema is a subconscious patterns that formed early in life that quietly shaped the way that you have been moving through the world. And we're often not even aware that they are at play. It's almost like a program that's running in the background. And so we often think that we are the drivers of our emotions and our decisions, but they're actually all a consequence of a program. And today we are going to identify the program that seems to be the loudest for you, according to this life trap framework, and we are going to heal it. So I hope you're excited. Um, the moment that you see the schema or the life trap or the maladaptive identity is a powerful moment. I remember when I went through this process myself. When you see it, you're like, "Oh my goodness, that is me. This is exactly what I have been dealing with." And all the consequences, all of the recurring issues in your life, even the recurring illnesses in your life, the recurring problems, just mental health, grief, all begins to make sense according to that specific identity. And this is why it's important to identify your maladaptive beliefs. It will be the fastest way that you will get to the transformation that you are looking for. One of the core aspects of my life's work is to help women fully become themselves. And I believe the only way that we can do that is to shed all of the identities and beliefs that do not belong to us. And I do this through identity healing. And remember, these aren't flaws. There's no judgment here. We all have them. Unfortunately, we live in a society that is prone to programming us in these ways for a variety of reasons, whether it's for control, etc. But we all have them. And you're just identifying them. And then we're going to do a powerful process to heal them. So we'll identify your schema. We are going to trace it to its origins, and then we'll release the emotional imprint that it has had on you, and then experience a new internal reality. Now, the schema itself is, of course, found in general psychology. The steps I'm going to take you through thereafter is a process that I have tested with myself and hundreds of women in various settings, and it's a process that I find works really well and very quickly. Now, today we're only going to work with the 18 known life traps or schemas. I have an additional set of 8 schemas that came up for me in my work with women, with Black women specifically, that I found were not in these 18. We're not going to use those today because, again, they're very specific to Black women. But if you are joining any of my Awakened Medicine for Black Women cohorts, those will be included. And so we'll be able to work on the specific life traps that are present for Black women. But today we're going to work on the 18. So, what we're going to do is I want you to grab a sheet of paper and a pen or a pencil. And what you're going to do on that sheet of paper, you're going to write the name of the schema that we're working with. And for each sentence I'm going to give you, you're going to give it a number. So from 0 to 5, you're going to score each sentence. And so 5 means absolutely, this is me. I completely identify with this. 0 means not at all. I don't identify with this at all. And I want you to not overthink your answers. You're going to hear the sentence and then just immediately give it the score that comes up for you. When you overthink it, what often happens is we begin to analyze a sentence and things like, well, I shouldn't feel like that. My mother always told me not to feel that. Well, no, I worked on this when I was working with my therapist last year, and that's better. That's no longer an issue. I want you to just simply write down the first reaction your body has to the sentence. And the more honest you can be with yourself, the more effective this is going to be for you. And no one's going to see your answers. And again, this is not judgment. So don't worry about the number you give it. Just try to be honest. And then at the end, we're going to find the schema that has the highest score for you. So, Let's get started. And I am going to walk or say the sentences fairly quickly, again, just because I don't want you to start overthinking any of them. So I'll read the sentence and then you're going to give it a score, and then we're going to move on to the next one. Okay. So I hope everyone's ready with their piece of paper and their pen. So the first schema you're just going to write down is abandonment. And the sentences are: I worry that people I care about may eventually leave me. I worry that people I care about may eventually leave me. Give it a 0 to 5. Next, when someone pulls away emotionally, I feel intense distress. Give it a score from 0 to 5. When someone pulls away emotionally, I feel intense distress. The next one is: I sometimes feel anxious about losing important relationships. I sometimes feel anxious about losing important relationships. Give that a 0 to 5. All right, we're going to move to the next schema, which is mistrust or abuse. I often assume people may take advantage of me. Give it a 0 to 5. I find it difficult to fully trust others. I tend to look for hidden motives in people's behavior. Number 3, emotional deprivation. This is one that I had when I did my identity healing several years ago. And I'll tell you a little bit at the end what changed in my life when I healed this. And the 3 sentences are: I often feel that my emotional needs are not fully met. I rarely feel deeply understood by others. I sometimes feel emotionally alone, even when I am with people. For those of you that are just joining us, just grab a sheet of paper, pen and a paper, and you're going to give each sentence a score from 0 to 5. 5 being absolutely I identify with this sentence, 0 being that's not me at all, and then 1 through 4 is something in between. And we're going to go through it quickly because I don't want you to overthink it. So let's go on to number 4, defectiveness or shame. I sometimes feel there is something fundamentally wrong with me. I worry that people would reject me if they truly knew me. I often feel inadequate or not good enough. The next one is social isolation. So just write social isolation on your piece of paper so you can keep track of the scoring. And the sentences are: I often feel different from other people. I sometimes feel like I do not truly belong. I often feel like an outsider in certain environments. Number 6 is dependence or incompetence. I sometimes doubt my ability to manage life on my own. I often seek reassurance before making decisions. Responsibilities can sometimes feel overwhelming. Okay, just give it all a score. Don't overthink it. The next one is vulnerability to harm. I often worry something bad might happen unexpectedly. I sometimes feel unsafe even when nothing is wrong. I tend to anticipate worst case scenarios. Again, don't judge yourself, just give it an honest score. Number 8, I sometimes feel responsible for another person's emotional state. My identity has often been closely tied to someone else's needs. I sometimes struggle to know what I truly want. Number 9, failure. I sometimes feel I am not achieving what I should be. I often compare myself to others and feel behind. I worry that I will fail in important areas of life. Number 10 is entitlement. You're doing great. Just give it a score. 0 being not at all, not me at all. 5 being this is absolutely me. I do believe this. I sometimes feel rules should not apply to me the same way. I can become frustrated when things do not go my way. I sometimes expect special treatment. 11, insufficient self control. I sometimes struggle to regulate impulses or emotions. I may avoid responsibilities that feel uncomfortable. I sometimes act quickly without considering consequences. Number 12, I often suppress my needs to avoid conflict. I worry that asserting myself will upset people. I prioritize others' desires over my own. You're doing great. We're almost there. We have 18 of them. All right. Number 13 is self sacrifice. I frequently take care of others even when I feel exhausted. I feel guilty prioritizing my own needs. I often feel responsible for others' happiness. Number 14 is approval seeking. I feel better about myself when others approve of me. I sometimes adjust who I am to be liked. I worry about disappointing people. Now, in my Awaken Medicine program, there are many, many more questions that you can go through to really refine the categories. But for the purposes of today's activation, we're going to use only 3 statements. And again, just be as honest with yourself as you can. Number 15, I often focus on what could go wrong. I sometimes expect disappointment. I tend to notice problems more easily than positives. Number 16, I often hold back my emotions. I feel uncomfortable expressing vulnerability. I sometimes worry emotions may overwhelm others. Number 17, I set extremely high expectations for myself. I often feel I should be doing more or doing better. I struggle to relax because I feel there is always more to accomplish. And 18, I can be very hard on myself when I make mistakes. I believe people should face consequences for wrongdoing. I sometimes struggle to show compassion to myself. All right. So you're going to tally up your responses. So go ahead and just calculate which section you had the highest score to. Which section did you have the highest score to? So just go ahead and add up each one for the 18 categories. I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to do that. All right. So now I want you to pick the strongest pattern. Again, we won't be able to work on, generally, I work on the three strongest in a session inside a week in medicine, but today we're going to pick the one that's strongest. If you have two that are, equal, just pick the one that you feel like probably is the one that you want to tackle today. Sometimes when you go through the more extensive questionnaire, you'll find that one is actually stronger than the other. But for today's purpose, just pick the one that you would like to work with. Okay. Now, what we're going to do next is going to be a guided meditation. So, again, make sure you're somewhere quiet because you're going to close your eyes. And I'm going to play in the background a very specific sound frequency that is calibrated to 396 hertz. And what that does is it amplifies your ability to contemplate and do self reflection, and it deepens the access to memories. So, again, I want you to close your eyes when you're doing this and be somewhere quiet, and we're just going to relax and go through this very gentle process. And then when we get to the end, I'll see if anyone has any questions. But this is going to be definitely worth your time. So, again, try to go somewhere quiet and get comfortable. If you can stay sitting up, that would be preferable, spine straight, because I don't want you to fall asleep. I don't want you to get so comfortable that you fall asleep and miss the instructions. There is some active recall and instruction following. Some meditations, they're okay if you fall asleep, but for this one, I want you to be relaxed but alert. So if you can sit up straight and be really comfortable, you're going to put your feet flat on the ground, maybe gently, comfortably place your hands on your thighs, and then you're going to close your eyes. And I'm going to activate the sound frequency. Go ahead and close your eyes. And we're going to begin. Now, I want you to bring to memory the sentence that you've had the strongest reaction to. And if you need to open your eyes briefly to recall what it is, which section did you write down, or what was it that you identified with the most, you can. But most of you probably remember the sentence that stood out the most for you. So you're going to bring that up to memory now. When I first did this many years ago, it was the idea that I didn't really belong, that I was very different from everyone. Now I want you to ask yourself, when is the first time you remember feeling this way? It could be a childhood experience, or perhaps it was during school or training. Perhaps it was during an early relationship. Just allow yourself to go to the very first memory that comes up for you. The very first memory that comes up for you. Be there now. Where were you? And what were you doing? Who were you with? Just keep your eyes closed. Taking some big deep breaths. Relax your shoulders and just be there. Just breathe. You're safe. Just stay there in that memory. What are you feeling? And where do you feel it in your body? In that moment that you first believed this? Could be in your chest, perhaps in your throat, maybe in your gut or your head. Where do you feel it? And you don't have to be able to describe the emotion. It could be a mixture of many things. It could be sadness or anger, fear. But now you're just going to feel it. Just feel it. And remember to breathe. The more courageous you are with feeling this, the more powerful this shift will be for you. So stay with me. You are safe. Stay right there. And now, I want you to ask yourself, what do you need right now? What do you need? What did you need in that moment? Did you need someone to believe you? Maybe to reassure you? Or maybe to simply tell you everything's going to be okay and that you're safe? Do you need someone to show you some love or kindness? What is it that you needed in that moment? Yeah. And now I want you to imagine whatever it is you need to imagine in this moment that you are in. That would have given you this thing that you needed. Perhaps the adults around you did something different. Perhaps the person there said something else. Whatever it is that you need to imagine to give yourself what it is that you needed in that moment, I want you to do that now. And breathe. You are loved. And as you imagine this, feel what comes up now. Is it relief? Is it happiness? Is it safety? Find the feeling and turn up that volume. Where do you feel it in your body? And stay there. And breathe. Really turn up that motion, this new feeling, this shift. Amplify it. Bask in it. That's it. And breathe. And I want you, this present version of you, to go to this younger version of you, the one from the past. And I want you to just give her a big hug. Tell her she is loved. She's magnificent. She's safe. And as you do this, I want you to hug yourself for that somatic release. Give yourself that warm hug. You can rock or sit still, whatever feels right in this moment. Feel you hugging you. And breathe. Very good. Very good. Movement is important. It's part of the release. So whatever movement feels right, whether it's moving and rolling your shoulders, rocking, keep it gentle and rhythmic. Very good. Now I want you to go ahead and open your eyes, and you're going to take a few moments to write down on your piece of paper your new belief. And this new belief will be the opposite of the original belief that you identified. And just make sure that when you write it, it stays in a positive statement. So you don't want to use negatives. So I'm going to give you an example. So, for example, if your original belief was, I often feel like an outsider in certain environments, this used to be mine. The new belief that I wrote down many years ago was, I am unique, a unique human being who belongs here. Go ahead and take the time to do that now. And this new belief is important because it's anchoring the psychological, the mental, the somatic, and spiritual shift that you just experienced. And it is your new identity. And what I want you to do is, for the next 7 days, first thing in the morning, you're going to read this sentence to yourself. And you're just going to connect with the feelings associated with this new belief. And if you want an even more powerful shift, I want you to journal on what it would mean for your life if you believed this. What would change for you? And if writing it down, just write it with a old school pen and paper, helps rewire the mind and makes connections all the way down to your core. And if you can just do this for the next 7 days, something magical will happen. You will begin to notice changes in your life. Every aspect of your life that this belief affected, you will begin to start to see a difference. Some of the most immediate changes will be that certain triggers feel weaker. Some things that you used to hear or see, or maybe even people around you, it doesn't trigger you as much anymore. Anxiety becomes quieter. Self-compassion arrives more naturally. And when your identity shifts, new thoughts begin to emerge, which means you're experiencing new emotions every day, which means your body now has a new chemical makeup, which means you get healthier and stronger and happier. And inside Awakened Medicine, we do this across every single one of your maladaptive beliefs. And if you're not ready for the full comprehensive journey, you can always take the mini self-guided identity healing just to get started. Now I invite you to share something in the community, because I've said before, being witnessed, as ancient African civilizations have taught us, is healing. And when you see another woman share themselves, I want you to go in and to affirm, celebrate, and see them. You can share perhaps what schema you discovered was playing for you. You can share maybe a little bit about the memory that came up for you. Maybe it was surprising. I know it was for me. You can share maybe what your older version of you needed at that time, the younger self. And if you feel called to, what shifted for you. So I encourage you to do that. And I want to thank you for taking some time with me today for yourself. And if this was helpful, if you're curious about what else you're carrying, then I definitely invite you into the Awakened Medicine journey. And so with that, I'm going to take any questions that anyone has. Jacqueline says, a memory of being 8 and alone after something terrible happened. I could have had someone to be there who wanted to know. A part of you stayed in that memory, in that event. And today you reclaimed that. This work is very powerful. And sometimes we're afraid to go back to these memories. We want to bury them and not think about them. But a part of us was left there. And what we do is we reclaim that so that we can be whole again. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Jacqueline. All right. Well, I don't see any other questions. I wish everybody a very peaceful Sunday. If a lot came up for you, I encourage you to go take a walk, maybe take a shower to really help cleanse and recalibrate your energy. You'll feel very, very good after doing that. And don't forget the exercise for the next 7 days. And I'm looking forward to seeing your comments in the community. Take care.